Hello, my friends. This week we've been talking about the concept of a duet playing in our life, and I've been thinking about this a lot the last several days because of the documentary on Fred Rogers that I went to see recently called Would You Be My Neighbor? There's a part in that documentary where little Daniel the tiger in Make Believe Land on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood Show is singing to Lady Aberlin. I don't know how familiar you all are with that show and those characters. If you're at all interested, I have connected the YouTube video of them singing together this song on the Study on Facebook page. It was set to pop up at the same time that this teaching was. So it's there if you want to see it. But the two of them, the little puppet, Daniel the tiger and Lady Aberlin, are talking, and Daniel begins to sing a song about how sometimes he feels like a mistake, that he's not sure that he is who he's supposed to be. And Lady Aberlin just listens to him sing, and then she sings back to him, and she talks about how he's not a mistake and how he's fine just the way he is. And it was really interesting because in the documentary, what struck me so much was that then the woman who was narrating this part of the documentary said, you know, the interesting thing about this song was that it would have been real easy for Fred Rogers to have Daniel sing his part, then have Lady Aberlin sing her part, and then for Daniel to say, thank you so much, Lady Aberlin, I feel so much better now. But instead what happens is that then the third time, first Daniel sings, then Lady Aberlin, and then the third time, they sing their parts together. And while Lady Aberlin continues to sing to Daniel, I think you're just fine, I like you the way you are, Daniel continues to sing, sometimes I feel like a mistake. And I sat in that little theater watching that documentary kind of leaking tears, because even though they weren't talking about Jesus or a spiritual journey, to me, I felt God speak deep into my heart and just open my eyes to this powerful truth that, Angie, this journey that you're on is sometimes going to be just like that duet, where your feelings may be like you're not good enough, or you're not like that you are a mistake. And I will continue to sing over you that you are beloved and special and created. I don't mean special, but you know what I mean. Special, cherished, beloved child of your Creator, of Father God, and that Jesus died for you. And all of those things that are true and that you know are true, I will continue to sing over you, even on days when your song is, sometimes I feel like a mistake. It was so powerful to me, obviously. And for those of you who have followed me for a while, you know that I'm very honest about this journey that I'm on of really wanting to live at more peace with myself, and also just to have a greater level of self-compassion for myself. And it is a process, it is a journey, and it led me this week to thinking about something that I've been writing about recently and talking about a little bit, because as you may know, I've spent a lot of time this year studying in the book of Acts, and one of the foundational characters in that book, of course, is the Apostle Peter. And I've recently, like I said, been writing about this and studying this. In Matthew 16, Jesus talks to Peter and makes him a couple of pretty dramatic, crazy almost promises. He tells Peter, first of all, that you are the foundation, that you are the rock on which I will build my church. And then he tells Peter just a little bit later that he will give him the keys to the kingdom. And I find those two promises to be extraordinary and fascinating and mysterious, because for someone to be given the honor to be the kind of person that the church can be built upon, and to be the kind of person who on earth can understand God's character to such depth that he would know what would be allowed in heaven and not allowed in heaven, and permitted in heaven and not permitted in heaven, and be able to communicate that while he had time on earth, is just an extraordinary honor. And it's made me wonder, what is it about Peter, right, that Jesus is able to entrust him with these things? Because so often when we think about Peter, we think about some of his mistakes, right? I like him so much because he got it wrong so much, and yet he's such a powerful force for the kingdom in the book of Acts. But we know that he denied Jesus, yes? Before his crucifixion, the Lord said, "You will deny me 3 times," and he was saying, "I will never deny you." And then when push comes to shove and he gets scared, right? He denies Jesus. We know from Matthew 15 that there were times when Jesus was speaking, that he was teaching, and Peter didn't understand at all what he was trying to communicate. We know from Matthew 17 that there were times when Peter was really afraid, where he fell on his face in fear, because the things that were going on around him were just too not understandable, and he was very afraid. And so it makes me think of this duet in Peter and in my own life, because we don't know a lot about maybe Peter's self-doubt, or if there were times that he was reminded of the mistakes that he'd made in the past. I don't think we know a lot about that, but I cannot imagine that there weren't times when Peter thought, I can't be this. I can't do this for you, Lord, because I feel like I'm a mistake, or that I've made so many mistakes that I cannot have this kind of impact for you. So obviously it's something that's meant a lot to me, and it's something that I've really been thinking about, because I have been reminded that even when there are times when the same old thing that hurts us, or that we've struggled with, or that we've tried to overcome, even when we're singing that song again, right? And sometimes I get down on myself because I'm like, why am I back here when I know better and I want to do better? But I think that this idea of duet has been so important to me, because it reminds me that even when I go back to singing that song, the song that God sings over me does not change. And I think that there's a real celebration in that. There's some real good news. It is disheartening, I guess, a little bit to me to think that that song may be something I sing for a long time, or even forever. Let's hope not, right? Let's hope we get to a place where we don't sing that song anymore. But I don't know. I don't know, but I think that I do know better now, that regardless of what I'm singing, God's song over me will not change. It reminded me of also in the Bible, Paul writes in 2 Corinthians, this is in chapter 12. I'm going to read a couple of verses to you, and I'm reading today from the Amplified Bible. I don't know if you guys like the Amplified Bible. I bought one several months ago, and I've been using it a lot in my study, and I really like it. It is a combination of scripture and commentary, and so it's not the kind of Bible that's good to read out of, like I'm going to do it today, but I'm going to break it up a little bit, but it's not good to read out like in church or publicly or anything. But if you want something that's helpful in your study, I recommend it. I have really liked it a lot. I'm going to be reading from 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 7, 8, and 9. And Paul is writing, "Because of the surpassing greatness and extraordinary nature of the revelations which I received from God, for this reason, to keep me from thinking of myself as important, a thorn in the flesh was given to me, a messenger of Satan, to torment and harass me, to keep me from exalting myself. Concerning this, I pleaded with the Lord 3 times that it might leave me. But he has said to me, my grace is sufficient for you." Say that with me, even if you're somewhere that people can hear you. Say it, at least in your heart. "My grace is sufficient for you. My loving kindness and my mercy are more than enough, always available, regardless of the situation. For my power is being perfected and is completed and shows itself most effectively in your weakness." Most effectively in your weakness. "Therefore, I will all the more gladly boast in my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may completely enfold me and may dwell in me." A lot of people who write commentaries, believe that this thorn in the flesh had something to do with Paul's health, that he actually had a physical issue that he struggled with. We don't know for sure. And you know what? I think it doesn't matter. I don't know what Paul's issue was, but I believe that it was something that made his ministry harder. It was something in his life that made it harder to do what God was continually asking him to do. And because it made it harder, Paul asked God, not once or twice, but 3 times, he says he asked God to just take it away so that I don't have to deal with it anymore. And God said, I'm not going to take it away. There was something about it that Paul needed. I think God knew that Paul needed it in order to remain dependent upon him. And so I'm not going to take it away, but I'm going to create this beautiful duet that even when you're struggling with it, especially when you're struggling with it, you will sense my grace, and will know that my grace is made strong in your weakness. And it is there in that place, as we sing that duet, that I can use you, the greatest and the best maybe. And so I hope that this is the good news for you today, that no matter what song you sing, because your song is probably different than mine. I resonate with the little Daniel song because that's what I sing sometimes, right? But we all have a song that we sing sometimes. And may we all also hear the song that at the same time is being sung to us that says, I love you, I created you, I called you, and you are enough. Peace.